Objection!
Not so fast. I hardly even know where to begin, but... First of all, welcome to Masterpiece Arcade Gaming. This is Phoenix Wright versus Professor Layton, and we're deep into Phoenix Wright chapter. We're in court right now. Maya's being accused of being a witch. The professor was turned into a gold statue, and now we've called a parrot to the stand, and that's why the prosecutor isn't exactly thrilled about that. Because apparently Luke has Dr. Doolittle powers and he can talk to animals, so obviously this is a very serious court game, so, you know, gotta keep that in mind. First of all, what's the matter with that boy looking so pleased with himself? Looks like the cat that caught the cream. Oh, that'd be me, wouldn't it? Don't mind me, just think of me as a perch for Cracker, that's all. And just what is the purpose of questioning a bird? A parrot might be able to repeat what others say, but it cannot talk on its own.
Objection!
It's precisely because Cracker doesn't talk in his own words that he's certain to tell us the truth. What? Cracker remembers every sound he hears, even just the ones, with absolute perfection. So let's have him testify exactly what he heard. And if Cracker can repeat every sound, I'd say this should be a valuable testimony. I cannot believe this is happening. A witness that cannot talk will not lie either. That idea is much to my liking. Well then, may our new witness, Cracker, testify to the court. We wish to know exactly what you heard from the beginning of the incident. We know who that was. That was the gold statue.
Dodo!
Objection!
What's this now? Why, those are the sounds of the incident, exactly as Cracker heard them. Ludicrous! Evidently this is nothing but a farce after all. What do you mean, Inquisitor Barnum? I must admit I found the parrot's testimony quite impressive. Even if that bird can accurately recall the sounds, it is clearly useless when it comes to the order of events. You mean there's a problem with the order? First, the witch used magic to turn the victim into gold. Then, the witnesses arrived. It is reasonable to assume that they cried out in terror when they did so. And yet, this testimony does not accurately convey such an order of events. It starts with a sudden scream, followed by the door abruptly opening, and then a witness crying out. Next, we hear the victim, having turned into gold, falling down. So far, so reasonable.
Dodo!
But the real issue is as follows. The parrot seems to think that the witch cast her spell after the witnesses entered. Such a suggestion is inconceivable. The reason is simple. At the time, the victim had already been turned into gold. Indeed. It is as you say, Inquisitor Barnum. The parrot's capacity for imitation is excellent. I will concede that its testimony does have some entertainment value. However, this animal's testimony cannot be allowed to stand as proof in this honorable court of law. People will laugh at us. Don't write Cracker off just like that. Do you now see how foolish you were to summon this parrot as a witness? Not good, Phoenix. Not good at all. Should I really go through with this cross-examination when it feels like everyone in court is against me? What? Are you serious? Did you not hear what I said? Are you choosing to ignore my words? A witness that cannot talk cannot lie either. The parrot's testimony is the naked truth. He is simply repeating the sounds as he heard them. It's humans who make assumptions about the meaning of the sounds and arbitrarily decide whether the testimony is good or not. But as knights of the court, shouldn't we be striving to uncover the truth to which this parrot holds the key? The truth, you say? Very well. Show us this truth the bird purportedly knows. Interrogate that parrot. Meanwhile, I shall enjoy the show. Will you? Will you do it, Mr. Wright? Do you think it's hopeless? Defender, you may interrogate the witness.
Salam! Deary, deary me! Clang! Dodo!
Because that isn't the exact spell. He says Godor, not Goldor.
Objection!
There's a critical contradiction in this testimony. We're all aware of that, Sir Blue Knight. This contradiction is between your so-called desire to find the truth and the fact that you were interrogating a parrot. That's not what I'm talking about, Inquisitor. There is a contradiction here that makes one thing particularly clear. The fact that we've clearly all made the wrong assumption. How so? Luke, can you ask Cracker to repeat the incantation once more? Right, you are. Godor, Godor. Godor? According to the Graham Grimoire, the name of the gold transmutation spell is Goldor. Now, Inquisitor, it would seem to me that the spell we've just heard is in fact a different one entirely. Well, I never. Unbelievable. Goldor and Godor?
Objection!
Is this some sort of Game of Thrones thing? This is ridiculous. That wretched bird must have misheard the incantation.
Objection!
Cracker is able to imitate sounds perfectly. The incantation was indeed misheard, but only by the people hearing it.
Objection!
The victim was found already in his golden state. That is proof enough that the Goldor spell was used.
Objection!
But you're forgetting that Cracker heard this incantation after that spell had already taken place. Which makes it entirely possible that this Godor spell was used as well. In other words, another spell besides the gold transmutation magic must also have been used. Ugh. Another spell that we haven't considered? Now, the next question that needs to be asked is, just what is this Godor spell?
Objection!
Utter foolishness! This is absurd! As convenient as it would be for you, there's no way that a spell by the name of Godor exists. Oh, Mr. Wright. Huh? What is it? I found it. This page about the spell, Godor. It's listed in the Grand Grimoire, right here. It exists? What? Order, order, I demand order. Just like I thought, Cracker remembered it exactly. But then, what kind of magic is this Godor? Well, my lord, the Grand Grimoire describes it in the following way. Godor creates a portal on two sides of green-colored walls. The portal will disappear after 5 minutes. Creates a portal? On green-colored walls? A portal spell. The spell Godor has been bookmarked. Aren't you a lucky man? It appears even the Grand Grimoire is on your side. However, there is a fatal flaw in your explanation. Huh? Oh, what flaw is that, Inquisitor? It is really quite simple. Think back to how the alchemist study looked at the time of the incident. Do you remember any green walls? Because I do not. There were none. All of the walls were coated with white plaster. In other words, it was impossible to use Godor in that room. I, too, have visited that alchemist study since the incident. I remember very well that all the walls of that room were a dull shade of white. Your little theory was interesting, Sir Knight in Blue, but it has proven to be nothing more than that. A mere wild guess. As long as you cannot prove that this Godor spell was used, your little theory shall be considered no further. Honestly, I was very surprised to learn of such a spell's existence. However, as long as it was impossible to have used the spell at the crime scene, your deduction leads us nowhere. So let me ask you now. Yes, Your Honor? Do you perchance have any proof that you could show us? Can you prove that it was feasible for the witch to have used Godor in that room? This is a coincidence. This is no coincidence. That spell must have been used at the crime scene. But do I have proof that it was even possible to use Godor? It's been on my mind for a while, that inexplicable mark. It has to be the evidence that ties up the loose ends. The defense wished us to present evidence. Impossible. The determination in your eyes would make me think you would. Now then, we shall allow the defense to present its evidence to the court. Present proof that the spell Goldor was used at the crime scene.
Take that!
The walls in the study are coated with white plaster. Not all of them, though. There's just one spot which is green. Oh, there is? I noticed it when investigating the crime scene. You may recall there was a small painting behind the desk. And for some reason, the wall behind it was painted green. I guess I'm just seeing things. It was what? I recall seeing that painting myself, too. If we look at this floor plan, I'd say it was around here. Mr. Wright, I'll mark it on the floor plan. It's been bothering me since I saw it, but now it's clear what it was. At the time of the incident, a portal opened up behind that painting. In other words, it was the wall utilized for the spell Godor.
Objection!
You're certainly persistent. You just want a portal to be there so much, don't you? The wall behind the painting was green, and that's a fact. Incidentally, I remember that painting well. It's a small landscape piece. About the size of, say, an open Grand Grimoire. Yes, it was about that size indeed. A small, adorable picture. Even if a portal had opened in that small patch of green, no person would be able to pass through it. In fact, they'd just about be able to put their arm through it, most. So will you please explain how a witch could have possibly escaped through a portal this small? He's right, Mr. Wright. No one could have gotten through a portal that small. Have you anything to say, or are you so crushed by the realization of your mistake that words fail you? The portal was too small for a person, but it doesn't require much thinking to figure that out. With that aside, a very obvious question remains. If it wasn't a human, what could have passed through that portal? You put an interesting spin on things. Why don't you answer your own question? You talk as if you know everything, so please enlighten us. A small portal was open at the wall of the crime scene, and I have all the clues as to what it could mean. What went through the portal was something else. No human could have passed through a portal that small. Even a witch couldn't have pulled that off. Are you finally forsaking your mistaken assumptions? I haven't finished, Inquisitor. The fact remains that something else could have passed through that portal. Oh, and just what would that be, Sir Blue Knight? The portal was created after the professor had been turned to gold. The witch had a good reason behind that. She must have had to move something through that portal. have captured my curiosity, I'd like to know what passed through the portal. Tell us, what did the witch use that magic portal for?
Take that!
Considering the state of the crime scene, there's just one possible answer. And that is the Telea Magica.
Objection!
What is this now? The Telea Magica was found at the crime scene. The portal has nothing to do with it.
Objection!
Inquisitor Barnum, you're making the wrong assumption. Wrong assumption? The witch wasn't trying to remove evidence from the crime scene. She wanted to plant it. She threw the witch's scepter into the room through the portal.
Objection!
You and your crazy theories. Do you even realize what you're saying? If she threw the staff into the room, that means... Exactly. She did it to deceive us. Her goal was to make us draw the wrong conclusions. When the incident took place, the witch herself wasn't in the room. She cast the spell from outside. What? Order, I say. And that's not all. There's even more proof that the staff was thrown into the room from outside. What proof? That proof is none other... Oh, excuse me. That proof is none other than Professor Layton's previously severed right arm. The victim's arm? How does that prove anything? None of the witnesses testify they saw the witch's scepter. However, a few of them claim to have heard it rattling across the floor. That's right. Please take a look at this floor plan. Since the arm was standing upright here, we know the defendant couldn't have been the one who dropped the scepter. Now think about it. Where would you need to drop a scepter from in order for it to end up here? Oh! That's right. The scepter could have only come from the small portal created by the spell Godor. This is most unexpected. The witch wasn't in the room when the crime occurred. Or at least, that's the defense's claim. It's the only thing that explains all the contradictions we've run into.
Objection!
Sir Blue Knight, with that imagination of yours, you could aspire to write fantasy stories. A nice try, I will admit. However, this line of assertion is futile. There is a glaring contradiction in your words. Another contradiction? Whatever you're referring to, Inquisitor Barnum. This is the Telea Magica that was used in the incident. As we have established, there are 2 magic gems in it. One for the gold transmutation spell Goldor, and one for the shadowed familiar spell Familiar. A witch in possession of the staff would not have been able to cast Goldor. Yes, you're absolutely right. But you can't write off all the evidence supporting my theory as mere coincidence. Why must your agreement always be followed by a but? What I'm getting at is, this Telea Magica is not genuine. Not genuine? That's right. And naturally, the one responsible for this deception is the real culprit of the crime. Enough of those suspense. It's too much for a man of my age. The defense shall reveal what is meant by the so-called deception.
Got it!
First, I want to clarify one thing. Can we be certain that the Telea Magica in question is authentic? Without a doubt. The metal rod in its center is called the Spina Magica. The witch's mark on its tip is clearly visible and highly detailed. It's impossible to forge even by the finest craftsmen in all Labyrinthia. I can guarantee you its authenticity. That leaves us with only one possibility. The forgery in question is the Familiar Magic Gem. What? A forged magic gem?
Objection!
That is an insult to our investigators.
Objection!
Only witches can use the power of these magic gems, can't they? So tell me, how can you know whether a magic gem is the real thing or not?
Objection!
Jeez. Hold it there. You know for certain that the spell Goldor was used. It is undoubtedly not forged. But what about familiar? Did anyone actually see a familiar at the crime scene? That's 3 months ago, when an investigation was carried out into Sir Belduke's death, the results yielded the following conclusions. The spell Familiar had been used to summon a familiar, which in turn carried out the murder. And the witch used exactly that to her advantage. I think that would be the perfect opportunity for the witch to frame the defendant for her crimes. The defendant would be blamed for both the professor and Sir Belduke's deaths, and she'd be taken for the real witch. Oh. That was the real culprit's objective. There's a chapter in the Magic Archive, an old collection about tales of the occult. About the way to test whether or not a magic gem is genuine. Okay, how can we test it, my lord? It's very simple. A genuine magic gem is composed of the mineral water, of a mineral with a density lower than that of pure water. Okay, I wasn't just getting water out of nowhere. All you need to do is see if that magic gem floats on water. That is simple indeed. All non-magical materials in our world, with the exception of sapolite and a few other special kinds, sink in water. These eerily sparkling magic gems, however, will never sink when put into some water. Bailiff, remove this magic gem for immediate examination. Magic gem's a fake? What's going up with this trial? That's not how it's supposed to be. Right, Tari, don't cry. You'll get to see a witch burning today. Sir Barnum's rather disappointed us. Never disappoints. Hush, hush. There. Defender, if your theory is correct, this could be the biggest occult crime in history. But another important question remains. I wonder if you can answer it. Who is the supposed real witch that threw the Taylor Magica through the portal? Real witch. Frankly, I still find it hard to believe, but it's the only possibility. Once I indict her, there'll be no turning back. Knowing the consequences, should I give them her name? Mr. Wright, in Labyrinthia, wishes are purchased by fire. I know you think that's going too far, but even in a world that seems so insane to you, those who take the lives of others must be punished. That's a universal law, isn't it? The witch turned the professor into a golden statue, and that's not all. She took the life of an alchemist too, and now she's trying to pin the whole thing on Maya. I can't just let her get away with that. Well then, defense, let's hear your theory. Who is the witch responsible for using Godor and throwing the scepter through the portal?
Take that!
When you've eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be true. There's only one logical possibility, and it has to be that person. The real witch is Jean Greyerl. Greyerl? I've heard that name somewhere. Wait, isn't that the butler of Sir Belduke? That's correct.
Objection!
What is this about? You seem to love rolling out these ridiculous suggestions, but you ignore the obvious. Jean Greyerl is a male. Professor Barnum, tell me one thing. Is it only females who can be witches? Are you daft? Of course it's only females. Never in the history of this court has there ever been a male witch. You're so utterly ignorant. You should be ashamed of yourself. Alright, well, I'd like to ask another question. Is Jean Greyerl really a male? What? What a ludicrous question. The defense is certain Jean Grey is the witch responsible for using magic on Professor Layton.
Objection!
Will you stop looking around? This is a groundless accusation.
Objection!
Fooling around. Groundless, you say? I'm afraid that's where you're wrong. At the time of the crime, Jean Grey was in the room kept next to the alchemist's study. And one of the walls in that very room was painted green. It was? What's more, that green wall was the one adjacent to Sir Belduke's study. What? This is madness. Visit Bonham. Quickly, the butler summoned to the butler summoned to the court. Have Jean Grey brought here immediately. Certainly, my lord, it shall be done.
There is no need for that. I am here. I shall come down right away.
Ah, it's you.
Well then, Mr. Wright, shall we begin?
Jean Grey. It seems this trial has turned a new direction. I think we all need a bit of time to take it in, so we shall take a brief intermission. Inquisition, defense, sharpen your swords and wits and prepare yourself for the next stage of battle. Yes, Your Honor. It shall be done, my lord. By the time we resume, the examination of the magic gem should have ended as well. Now, the court is adjourned for a brief intermission. To be continued. Alright, so I think I'm going to stop it there as well. And we'll have more of this on Friday. And then we'll have the last Wind Monk tomorrow. And the rest of the week, pretty much the same. I'm probably going to finish Wario Land 4 on Tuesday. I'm really going to try to finish it at least. And I might go back to Final Fantasy 15, depending. So if you want to see more of that, you can either make a comment or add watch some more of the views. You know, that helps. Shows me what people are watching. So anyway, yeah, thanks for watching, and hope you have a great week. Later.